Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have Vivek on Ann Coulter saying she wouldn't vote for him because he is Indian. Now, this comes to us thanks to Vivek's X-Twitter profile, in which she says, quote, Ann Coulter told me flat out to my face that she couldn't vote for me because you're an Indian. Even though she agreed with me on more than most candidates, I disagree with her, but respect she had the guts to speak her mind. It is a riveting hour. The Truth podcast is back. And this is only about a minute long of Vivek, and I mean, truth be told, his voice is infinitely better than mine, and gotta give him credit. Like all good gentlemen, he does suit up, as we all should. We always like the best. And a very rare thing in politics, I know he's not an official politician yet. I kind of think he'll be involved in some type of official capacity shortly. But a very rare thing in politics, he actually does have an American flag on his lapel. You don't see that much in DC these days. Without further ado.
And that's why I brought on today somebody who I think has some thoughtful perspectives on the future direction of our country, of our conservative movement, and on this question of nationalism and national identity, somebody I've been fascinated by for a long time and have interacted with on social media, but for the first time we're having at least a live form conversation in the offline sense of it. It's Ann Coulter. So Ann, thanks for coming on, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Me too. Thanks for having me. That was a fantastic opening monologue. I too am a fan of yours. So I'm going to make a point of disagreeing with you so that it will be fun. You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American Black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many things you said during. In fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that.
Jeez. Really? I mean, I think it is kind of appropriate if you're watching the show, if you're just tuning in. There, the end is Vivek sitting with his fingers or his hands crossed in his suit, looking classy. He has look happy. He's not smiling, obviously, and yet where it pauses at the end of the video, she looks like she's crazy. Well, her mouth is open like she's screaming, and her fashion acumen is piss poor to say the least, obviously. And yeah, that's pretty disgusting.
I understand. That's why I brought on.
Again, I don't know if it's a feature or a bug, Elon, but the videos always repeat themselves automatically at the end. Perhaps you think we're so enthused about the video we want to see it one more time, which in some cases, yeah, sure. But yeah, morally vacuous to say the least. You wouldn't vote for someone based on things they can't control, like the race. That is disgusting. I have heard some people say they were hesitant about Vivek because he doesn't share the founding fathers in terms of their same faith. And a lot of people will also argue that they respect Vivek for not switching to a more popular religion, at least in the United States, where historically speaking, there's a lot, in terms of voting and outreach, there's a lot of Catholics and Christians. That's a big voting base, and they're usually pretty active in the voting. But yeah, Vivek said he wouldn't change his religion just to win votes, which I respect, actually, even if I'm not of his religion, I could appreciate it. Now, this got 4.7 million views and 11,000 likes, with one of the first ones being Paul Zupa saying, quote, speaking one's mind is important. Now, how does Ann Coulter have an issue with Vivek being an Indian? Shouldn't good ideas trump all? What if you are blind? Would you care what someone looked like, or just that they can provide the best life in your family? That got 648 likes, including one for myself. USMC Lady Vet says she's always been racist, getting 1.2 thousand likes. Indian Tintin says Dinesh D'Souza humped and dumped her, which made her Indian phobic, getting 2,000 likes. Wild Girders says, LOL, you're effing weak and pathetic, getting 5.8 thousand likes, which, I mean, I always think the best way to defeat someone in terms of the rhetoric and ideas is always have a debate and get to know them and really just say which methodology is best. Now, the fact that she's saying that, I think actually is admirable to try to win over someone when, again, because again, I don't think isolating someone like Ann Coulter in a room or, banishing her from society is going to make her evolve or have her win her over or, expose her to ideas. But yeah, her ideas are obviously viscerally disgusting, to say the least. Now, you also have Anthony AI says, let's see, wild how you just let white people pull you out every time you turn on camera. 3.2 thousand likes. This is a very rare instance where Vivek is getting, as youth might say, ratioed. He usually has, I want to say, 50 to 60% positive responses in his feed. Let's see, you have Patrick Casey saying, Vivek, you made it very clear you want America to be more accessible to Indian immigrants at a time when immigration restriction is a popular issue. And it's correct to point out you have a vested ethnic interest in facilitating a great replacement. I got 2,000 likes, which, again, if people don't realize this, India is actually a pretty conservative country. They have a fair amount in common with conservatives, and they also have one of the largest tech companies on the planet. I mean, again, if someone is of acumen or, they could be a value add to society, I mean, I think even people who aren't traditionally in favor of, I mean, it's, again, a big political issue is illegal immigration. We've been debating it for decades, which I partially think that Republicans and Democrats just have these hot topics that they'll never actually resolve because then they can both raise money on both sides of the political aisle, pretending they'll fix the problem, which is why I usually feel so politically alienated. But another topic for another time, perhaps. But when it comes to people coming here legally, an overwhelming majority of Americans agree with that. I think, I mean, again, I don't have statistics. I can't tell you like 2% of Americans are against every form of immigration. Again, there might very well be, and you can make the argument that the United States has gotten to the point where it's not as necessary as it used to be. There was a time, believe it or not, when there's no income tax, and the government would actually give you free land if you came here, because they need to help explore the different territories of the United States and need to help build it out. Unfortunately, those days are long gone. Now, going back to other comments, let's see here. Roman Vantilli says, it's not your race, buddy. You just remind Ann so much of the ex-boyfriend who is also notorious con. He got 853 likes for a picture with like a little prison placard with Denise D'Souza. Let's see here. Steven says, when people say horse face, I never know if they're talking about Stormy Daniels or Ann Coulter, getting 565 likes. Migs 1865 says it would be interesting to hear her rationale for being a bigot, getting 362 likes, which, in spoiler alert, usually isn't. Again, the best way in terms of exposure, I believe, in terms of trying to show people that all races can be cool. You just have, in my opinion, the most important thing is do you share the common core values. And the more you get to know people, the more you find that in many cases you do. Granted, I'm also a little bit biased. I have my geographic bias, so to say, because I'm in the great country, or some might argue the great state of Texas, where most people here are all about loving freedom, their founding fathers, and giving everyone rights. But I partially digress. You have News Nomad saying Vivek maintained composure and worked to find common ground with Coulter. Masterclass on how to be undefendable. 819. Oh, 823. I'll do one more. 824 likes. See here. Philip Anderson says, quote, we all support you, Vivek, and hope to see you as vice president or in some other position, unquote. Getting 297 likes. Interesting enough, not a lot of memes this time around. There's another clip from it. Here. About 10 minutes long, but it looks like, well, maybe we'll play a minute or two. This claims to be one of his responses to her. Let's see.
Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during.
And so I think you and I share that in common, actually. I don't know, I've never asked you this, Ann, but I assume from seeing the things you said, tell me if I'm right about this, you're probably against the existence of dual citizenship as a concept. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yes. You and I share that in common.
Outrageous.
It's incoherent. It's not just outrageous. It's incoherent. It's oxymoronic. How could you possibly have a loyalty to two different nations where the essence of citizenship is which nation to whom you had your undivided loyalty? That's what the essence of citizenship is all about. So you and I agree on so much there. But where I wouldn't say lose you, but I may fail to fully understand you, is on that axis of citizenship, what does ethnicity have to do with the matter? And I think you would be well served, and maybe this could be a great platform for you to do it, to make the case for why that, what you put at WASP basis for the American identity, how is that relevant against a backdrop of which you got the WASP seventh generation descendant of some rich guy on the Upper East Side in Brooklyn that pretends to hate this country because it's the cool thing to do, versus somebody who came here as the kid of immigrants, but pledges loyalty to this country? If loyalty was the axis for citizenship, aren't you actually committing a bit of a sin, reverting back to a conception of citizenship that has nothing to do with loyalty in the first place?
Well, I will say many of those seventh generations WASP I definitely hate. I know we have a lot of really, really bad ones, but like I said, anyone can adopt this. I guess what I just said if any of your children marry a DAR, I would definitely vote for them for president. It's not so much, it's more, president is different. You have to be natural born, as you know, which, by the way, Ted Cruz is not, basically on because of what you were just describing. Where is the loyalty? So ambassadors' children born actually in the United States are not natural born, but that's a total sidebar. I've gotten
It's
off
actually
on
not a sidebar at all. I mean, the fact that ambassadors' kids born in the United States are not citizens is actually an overlooked fact. If a kid of an ambassador from Mexico does not enjoy birthright citizenship, neither does somebody who's in this country illegally.
So that goes on for about 10 minutes, but I think it's a good highlight there. Again, it's good. If you want to change someone's hearts and minds, you got to find common ground and build upon it and kind of share your perspective, and hopefully they come over to your side. So I think he did, that was a pretty good, as youth might say, a comeback. But yeah, Vivek continued to be articulate, gave good answers. And I mean, will she ever really change her mind? I mean, hopefully. I mean, that's always the hope that people grow and develop over time. I'd like to think that. But let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.